I'm streaming executive producer Thomas Mates. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got a really good show for you today. We are going to be looking at a Boomtown story from News 6 anchor Justin Warmoth, looking at a new bit of development that's happening over in Seminole County, but it's not what you might expect. It's actually going to involve a former golf course and what's going to be done with that. We'll show you that coming up after the break. Also, we'll be looking at a story from investigator Lewis Bolden. He is looking at phishing and smishing schemes that are out there trying to get people's personal information so that they can take their federal income tax returns. We'll get the look at that story and how you can protect yourself. All that's going to be coming up right after the break. But first, we got to talk about the tropics. It is still that season, unfortunately, as I'm sure we're all aware, or at least we try to keep reminding you all. There we go. And as such, we need to bring in the expert to talk about all this. And that expert is, as always, David Nazario. David, how are you doing today?
Thomas, I'm good, man. You know, it's funny. Last week when Julie and I got on here to talk winter weather, I was very excited to finally not be popping up to talk tropics, but here we are again.
Yeah, I will. Like I said, it is that time of year, and it will continue to be that time of year for at least another couple of weeks. So exactly. I know you had been talking about this for a little while now, that there was going to be potentially something brewing, the potential grand finale, as it were, to this 2024 hurricane season. And it looks like your predictions appear to be coming true. The NHC has an area of interest that they're keeping an eye on. Why don't you tell us what that is and why they're keeping an eye on it then?
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, since Thomas gave us the wonderful plug, if you haven't checked that out on the News 6 app or on our YouTube channel, as a matter of fact, you can find that web story that I wrote, I want to say maybe a little over a week or so, maybe a week and a half ago. So we have had our eyes on this particular source region in the Caribbean. And as you can see here, brought to us by our handy-dandy pinpoint weather system, we do have an 0 for 40 split down there for a potential tropical cyclone trying to form up as we get just beyond the Halloween holiday this upcoming Thursday. And I'll break this down a little bit further. So I know that underneath that orange blob, that's what I love to call them, a yellow blip, an orange blob, or code red. Hopefully we don't get to code red anytime soon, which would mean that the development confidence is fairly high. In this case, underneath the orange, you can see some thunderstorms and some showers on the infrared that's superimposed behind the graphic. That is not our system. We're still not expecting anything to try to take shape, at least for the next 3 to 5 days, if not even just beyond that, depending on if we see another bit of delay per our global models. We're not going to go through models too much today. I'll show you a little bit of the probabilities in a second, but National Hurricane Center has no confidence that between now and Wednesday, this could take on named storm status, and we're at a 40% chance over the next 7 days. So this time next week, there is a 40% shot that we could have Patty down there in the Central Caribbean. Now, I do anticipate this is going to go up. The rest of the Pinpoint Weather team and myself have been closely looking at all the model data that we can get our hands on, and it does seem like development is not certain at this point, but getting closer and closer to that point. So right now, it's just a source region that we're going to keep our eyes on. We're going to go right into those tropical probabilities like I'd mentioned. I love this chart, especially for breaking it down to you all, because it pretty much just gives you a bird's eye view of exactly where we need to watch. There's no jagged or raggedy lines. There's none of that spaghetti mess thrown all over the screen. In this case, it's just a colorful palette that is pleasant to the eyes, and we know exactly where to watch. And if you have tuned in with us for the last couple of days now, whenever we do pop up and do our tropical updates, I'd mentioned that the greater the colors begin to manifest themselves, the greater the confidence is that our models are also thinking that something is going to develop. And you can see as we go through next week, even particularly into for Monday and Tuesday of next week, again, next week, I want to reemphasize that, into the beginning parts of next week, you can see our confidence has gone up fairly dramatically in comparison to what we looked at last week when we first met talking about this potential source region. We're now sitting at about a 50 to 60% shot per our European model probabilities that something may try to develop that could look a little tropical down there when it starts to spin just to the south of Jamaica. I'm not going to go anywhere beyond this because it turns into a kerfluffled mess. Your models are having a hard time trying to figure out exactly where it could go and how strong it could get. And that's for multiple reasons, truthfully. We have a lot of different dynamics in play this time of year. We are deep into the fall season, almost counting down to the start of winter at this point. And as a result, the environment is not the same as when you would typically see tropical activity during the months of, say, August, September, and even early October when we're kind of in that peak hurricane season. So you can see the key takeaway here is development chances are going up. We will likely see Patty down there over the next 5 to 7 days. And then from there, we can really begin to dial in exactly where Patty could go. And we'll talk a lot more about that over the coming days and over the next week. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look outside right now. This is a live look at our Doppler radar here, courtesy of the Melbourne radar near Palm Bay. A couple of light showers out there near Daytona Beach, Deltona, Winter Springs. This is going to be the song and dance for much of the day today and tomorrow. We're back under that traditional onshore flow, which essentially means we have winds coming in out of the east-northeast, which are coming right into Volusia, northern Brevard, and parts of Flagler County just to the north of that. And that's where most of our rain chances are going to be staying. Nothing in terms of widespread coverage. We're not all going to get rain if you particularly live up in that corner of Florida. The rest of our viewing area is going to be looking at mostly clear skies, maybe some occasional cloud cover here and there, but nothing in terms of widespread showers or storms. Definitely not going to be that type of setup, and it's not expected to remain that way, at least for the next 7 to 10 days. You can see here, I'll go ahead and play the loop in person. Oh, excuse me, let me go back. Sorry about that. I got to remember to play on target. There we go. Taking a look at the infrared. Just some high cloud out there coming across our viewing area. I know that those clouds look a little intimidating, but on the infrared, we have to remember that we're looking at temperatures. So even though those clouds look very dense, they're showing up the greens, the yellows, the oranges, that means that they're very high up in the atmosphere, so they're colder than the surface beneath them. So honestly, we're just looking at scattered clouds, maybe a little bit of that rainfall as it's coming into the northeast portion of our viewing area, but all in all, we're looking at a pretty solid day for not only today, but much of the rest of the week. We'll take over to the current temps. Kind of going to stay in this neck of the woods for much of the day today and the rest of the week. We're only going to warm up a couple of more degrees from here, maybe topping out in the low to mid 80s for much of us over the Central Florida Peninsula. And then, as we all know, we're counting down to Halloween. This is the final countdown. I can't believe how fast October has come and gone. It's already the 28th. I keep looking at the calendar down in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen here, and I'm like, where is the time going? We're already almost rocking into November. So as you can see, for today, we're looking at pleasant, breezy conditions. Same with tomorrow and Wednesday, nice and breezy. Thursday, I would definitely say, if you're like me and you like a good old-fashioned slasher flick and you may be donning a mask and some coveralls for my Halloween fans out there, we're talking the movie, it might not be as comfortable as this graphic depicts. I know I sometimes work up a pretty solid sweat out here in the Florida weather whenever I'm in the mask and the coveralls enjoying the Halloween night with friends and family alike. But all in all, we're looking at really good conditions as we go throughout the day today and the rest of the week. Here's a look at the 3-day forecast. Monday and Tuesday with that 20% chance of rain. Only 20% of us may see a light occasional shower or maybe some rain falling through. There is a difference. We can talk more about that at a later point in time. And then you fast forward and take a look at the rest of the week, sitting in the mid to low 80s for much of Central Florida, with highs, or lows, I should say, in the upper 60s to start much of the day. And Thomas, with that being said, that pretty much concludes the weather segment of Take 6.
Oh, well, thank you so much. You know, one of these days I will have you on, I swear to God, to talk about a different kind of weather phenomenon than a hurricane or something in the tropics or anything like that. You know, like what's a bomb cyclone? What are fluid dynamics? Talk to us about the jet stream. One of these days you'll get that opportunity, I swear.
Hey, I'm all for it. And you know what? I love tropical weather. I love to talk tropics. It's like kind of the Super Bowl of the entire calendar year. So happy to discuss, happy to lay out as much of the accurate information as I can. So, but I will say I'm looking forward to doing some more holiday forecasts, talking about the next big storm in the Atlantic.
Yeah. Let's get through Halloween at least. You know, like it's just like with Christmas impending and looming over all of us. Let's get through Halloween first, and then we can deal with it from there.
Exactly.
All right.
Well, thank you very much for having me today, Thomas.
Thank you. We'll talk again soon. All right, and with that, we are going to take a quick break. We are going to have News 6 anchor Justin Warmoth coming up on the other side of the break with his story out of Seminole County about some development that's going to be happening there, different from what we're used to with our Boomtown stories. Again, we'll be having that coming up in just about 2 minutes. Welcome back to Take 6. I'm streaming executive... Excuse me. I am streaming executive producer Thomas Mates. I'm filling in for Julie Broughton today. She is out on an assignment today, but she'll be joining us again tomorrow. Hopefully. I will find out probably about the same time that you all do. In any case, we are now taking a look at our Boomtown series. We all know Central Florida is growing. There is development happening everywhere in all corners of Central Florida. And to the person who guides us through all these changes happening in our area is News 6 anchor Justin Warmoth. He is joining us right now. Justin, how are you doing today?
Hey, good, Thomas. Thanks for having me. Hey, listen, I don't want to give myself that much credit. There's so much development happening that just a small percentage is something that we can cover. It's hard to keep up with everything. But
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
the big stuff we try and nail.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as I was saying before when I was setting this up, this is a bit of a different story from what we're used to. Usually when we're saying development, especially when we're talking about, like, say, a former golf course, as it is with this story, we're talking about, you know, condos going up, grocery stores going up, all sorts of changes. But this is not that. Walk us through it a little bit.
It almost was, though. I mean, so today we're talking about Rolling Hills Golf Club. It's in the Longwood area. It's been there. That course opened in 1926. And then back in 2014, the golf course closed. It was purchased by a developer who wanted to build homes on the golf course. Obviously, that did not go over well with the people who have lived in the Rolling Hills community. They did not want to see that. If it wasn't a golf course, they wanted it to remain as is. Well, 2 years after that developmental, I would say, threat, the county ended up purchasing Rolling Hills Golf Club back in 2016. Since then, they have been working with the community and trying to nail down what exactly to do with this 100-acre property with all the golf courses. So bottom line is they're going to turn this into a park, and not just any park. This is going to be a next level park. So redevelopment happening at an old golf course. Here's a little bit of my story. So that's the green, or the former green.
Yep, that was the green up there. And there was 3 bunkers around it.
The memories of Rolling Hills Golf Club are still fresh for Keith Papke.
It's a great layout. I mean,
do you miss it?
Yeah. It was kind of neat to sit out in the front yard, sit on the swing, and watch all the people hit the houses as they hit their balls.
Since 2009, he's lived along the second hole fairway, even working part-time at the course until it closed 10 years ago. As a homeowner, what is the initial thought when the golf course that you live on closes?
Property values.
Right.
That was the first thought.
Today, those concerns are an afterthought. Instead, there's optimism. After purchasing the golf course in 2016, Seminole County has been nailing down plans to redevelop the course into a community park. Commissioner Lee Constantine grew up in the historic Longwood neighborhood.
Rolling Hills is a community that is entrenched in our culture and a fabric of our history here in Seminole County. So we got to do it right.
If you've been around Central Florida for a while and you're a golfer, you remember how special this track was. Rolling Hills Golf Club was always a unique place to play, and that's because of the undulation, the rolling hills, part of the name, of course, and a lot of people miss it and have missed it since it closed in 2014. Now, the county has kept up with this property, and they have kept it trim, mowed, and a lot of people do come out here to walk their dogs, use it as a passive park. In fact, a few people actually bring their golf clubs out and take a few practice cuts. That won't be the case much longer, as the old tee boxes and overgrown greens will soon transform into 100 acres of pure outdoor recreation, a vital asset for a growing region.
As we've seen, and we've continued to see our population grow over time, the needs of our population and population growth means additional park space.
Renderings from the county give us insight on the vision, which include an inclusive playground, a 4-mile trail, meditation garden, and so much more. Rick Durr is the director of Parks and Rec.
It's not just the park and it's not just the trail, it's also roadway improvements and pedestrian crossing improvements. A lot of community infrastructure, and you want to be able to do that well, and you want to do it once.
Slowing down traffic is critical before construction can start on the park itself. The county has $25 million worth of road improvements planned for the neighborhood, including installing roundabouts along Raymond Avenue, North Street, and Palm Springs Drive.
This is going to be something very special.
All right, so for the folks who have lived in the Rolling Hills community for a while, they've heard about a park coming. I wouldn't say it's been delayed. I think it's just been when you have a big transportation element on top of a redevelopment of a park, that takes a lot of time. So where it stands right now, it's out for bid. So they are taking those bids on, and once that is all finished, then construction will start. And I know a lot of people, especially who live along those streets where roundabouts are going in, because that neighborhood is a cut through for some, and speeding is a problem. I heard that from a few folks who live there. So they, obviously when you have a park of this size and you're gonna have a lot of people walking and moving around and kids on bikes and things like that, you wanna slow down the traffic. So they're gonna have those roundabouts. They're gonna have a way to basically not have straight shots, kind of make I forgot the word that the Parks and Rec director used, but essentially it's a way to slow down traffic in another way, just traffic calming devices all throughout the Rolling Hills community. So I know I played that course when I was growing up a little bit, and it was really cool. And I'm glad to see something like this happen. And Thomas, it's interesting because when you hear about a golf course closing, I think the initial thought is, like we talked about, is homes or apartments going on. We have seen that countless times. But what Seminole County is doing is really unique. And I think when you purchase a property and you keep it nice, and people still use that, like I mentioned, to walk their dogs just as a passive park right now. They also just purchased last year or a year before, recently, they purchased Wekiva Golf Club, which was sort of, I wouldn't say getting, bad, but it was not, it needed money, pumped into it. And so when the county purchased Wekiva, they also got the Deer Run golf course. And so they really want to prioritize having this green space and making it a place where people can go and enjoy. And that's the bottom line. When you have a dense county like Seminole County is so dense, it's a small county with a lot of people.
And growing.
You need that green space. So and continuing to grow.
And I know that is a common complaint that some people have about golf courses kind of in general, is that they sort of end up monopolizing some green space. If you're not a golfer, you're not really able to use it. So this is kind of returning it back to the community as a whole. And, really, and as you pointed out, it's massive by
huge. I mean,
park
that's
standards.
what I was like, so you're going to have a park on 18 holes of course on the course, not just one hole, not just two holes. All 18 holes will have some sort of park, and it's all going to be connected with a nice trail. And I think you're seeing, obviously, I think a lot of people would like to continue to see the golf course. Those who have lived there for a while, they moved there, they bought on the house, they bought into a golf course. But this is the second best option. And I think, the way the county talks about this and the collaboration between all different segments, you have Parks and Rec, Public Works, and the commission. I think what you're seeing is they are really prioritizing this and making sure that this park will be special, no doubt about that. So I'm looking forward to seeing it as, and I know the folks who live in the Rolling Hills community are looking forward to seeing what the county has in store for this piece of property. Yeah,
absolutely. And I know you said that they're taking bids right now because they have to deal with the traffic before they deal with the park. Is there any kind of maybe just a wishful thinking timetable?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're going to see is in the next couple of months, you're going to see the county announce a groundbreaking ceremony. It's kind of it's a way to just signal to the entire, Central Florida area that this is coming and construction is officially underway. And I think what you're going to see, based on gathering the information on this story, you're going to see that happen probably the next couple of months, and then construction will get going from there. But they do want to, before they start on the park itself, they are going to get all the streetscape, all that done, or at least started in a good place. So I think that's going to be prioritized first, and then you're going to see the park sort of take shape.
All right. Well, I know we will be keeping an eye on that. Thank you so much for your time, and you'll have that more on the story coming up tonight on News 6 at 6, I believe, correct?
I think 5 today.
5. Okay. Yes.
It'll be
Lewis is at 6. So. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll talk again soon. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. And speaking of Lewis, we have a look at his story for tonight as well. He is looking at warnings from the IRS about phishing and smishing scams. What are these scams? What is the phishing and smishing? What's the difference between the two of those? Lewis Bolden will explain in this story, and he'll have a more in-depth story coming up tonight on News 6 at 6. But let's take a look at this now.
We've all gotten them. Unsolicited text messages and emails, seemingly harmless, but secretly after your information.
Unfortunately, each and every year we see more and more tax scams and schemes.
IRS Commissioner Danny Werfel sat down with News 6 and says phishing and smishing schemes top the list of this year's Dirty Dozen.
Which is our top 12 tax scams to be on the lookout for.
If it comes in email, it's phishing. In text, smishing. Werfel says sometimes the crooks want as much personal information as possible so they can use it to fraudulently file tax returns and claim refund money that isn't theirs. Other times they want fast money now.
It'll say something like, "This is the IRS. You owe $4,500. Click here to pay or face significant more penalties."
Does the IRS ever send links?
No.
That's the first red flag, and there are others. Werfel says the IRS won't initiate contact with you by email or social media to request personal or financial information.
It is our effort to get the word out to taxpayers on what to be on the lookout for in terms of tax scams.
If you think you've been the victim of a scheme or ripoff, email me at lbolden@wkmg.com. Remember, don't fall for the scheme, don't get ripped off. Getting results, I'm Lewis Bolden, News 6.
And you can find more of Lewis's story online right now at clickorlando.com/investigators. Of course, you can find all of the stories for our investigative unit there. Again, that's clickorlando.com/investigators. Lewis's story will again be airing tonight at 6, a more full version with more tips on how you can protect yourself from these schemes and ripoffs. Again, that'll be coming up at 6, and of course, his full story on clickorlando.com/investigators. That is going to do it for us today here on Take 6. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you to David Nazario and Justin Warmoth for joining us as well. I hope you all have a pleasant day. We will be back on News 6 at 4, running straight through till 7 o'clock tonight with all your news, weather, traffic, everything you need to know to finish up your day. Thank you again for joining us, and have a pleasant day.